So we thank Hashem that we're able to learn every day. It's our learning. Okay, so the Mishnah starts with, the Mishnah is just going to give us 4 cases of a woman that's trying to sell her property without her husband's consent. So the Isha Shnafla and Chasam actually to Tesaris. Case number 1 is she inherits property, and she inherited before the Erison. All right, before the Erison, before the betrothal. So she got it back when she was single. And then she gets betrothed, and now she wants to sell it. So Moedim Bisham Bisel Shemecheres Fanisenas Vakaim. Bisham and Bisel agree that she's allowed to sell it. She's only betrothed, and she received it beforehand, so her husband doesn't have much to do with this property. Nafla Mishinas Arsa, but let's say she's betrothed already, and then she inherits it. Bisham Yerim Timka. Bisham says Lachatchila, she can sell it. Bisel Amram Lai Timka. Bisel says that Lachatchila she can't, but that sounds like, yeah, but who's this thing for? Yeah. Lenience for the woman means that's strict for the man. Right? It's hard to say which way. Well, Basil says later that she can't sell it. But everyone agrees, both Basil and Bishama, the time that if she did sell it, it's going to be a valid sale. So this was the case where she inherited the property before the betrothal. She sells it after the betrothal. And we say that that's a good sale with the Eved, but Bishama says even the Hapila, initially she can go ahead and sell it. The husband's not connected to her. She's not married yet. It's just betrothed. And she received she after the betrothal. Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Yehuda says, Amar Chacham Lefnei Ram Gamliel. He's saying over that what happened with Ram Gamliel. The sages told Ram Gamliel, if the husband just acquired the wife, how did he acquire? Because he betrothed her. So you shouldn't acquire also her properties. We're embarrassed of the halacha that if she receives the property after the marriage, and we say that she can't sell it, that the husband can take it away. Now you're trying to tell us that the same thing should apply from the betrothal. It says from the ones that she received new, we're embarrassed about. I mean, it's one that she got right now after the marriage. You're trying to tell me that the old ones also she can't sell, that the husband can take it away. Because we don't have it clear. When it says we're embarrassed, it means we don't have clear the reason why it should be like that. Well, all of this was before the actual marriage. That was the two cases before the actual marriage. Now, Nafla Mishinisis. Case number 3. We jump to that she received the property after she's married. Everyone agrees, that the husband can not only wasn't she allowed to sell it because he has the rights to the fruits, right? But he's even allowed to go and take it back from the buyer. Now, I'm just going to explain that this is only while she's alive. But after she passes away, the buyer gets it back. He took it back, but he didn't really own it. He took it back just for the fruits. It's going to go to the purchaser. That's what it means she owns.
What if she had a business? She made stuff and she owned it.
So he's trying to say that
Only because he inherited
that because we have 4 cases, so we have to be able to have them equally symmetrical. That she's going to be able to get property somehow in any of these time periods. So it's trying to, the example needs to go in each one of those cases. So how does she get it after she's betrothed? She inherited it. How did she get it after she's married? She inherited it. Right? Could have been she got it as a gift, right? If I would say that she worked and she earned it, then that would have been my siyada. You're getting into a whole other discussion that we're avoiding. But it's her work and so on, so it fits with everything. Okay. He's used to thinking in the morning. Okay. What happens over here? She's married already, and she sells it. The husband takes it away. Actually, this is case number 4. Witnesses. It's going backwards. Timeline. It jumped a little. It jumped ahead. Now it's going back. She actually inherited the property before the marriage, but then she got married. Well, Ram Gamliel says that if she sold it, looks like only for the Eved, if she sold it, it's going to be a good sale. Same story like Rabbi Yehuda said, right? They said, 1 second, why can't, how is she allowed to sell it? If the husband acquires her, doesn't he acquire her property? And now she's just selling it? He said, we're even embarrassed about the fact that if she inherited after the marriage, that she can't sell it. Are you trying to tell me that she shouldn't be able to sell it even if she inherited before the marriage? Okay. Reb Shimon distinguishes between different types of property. The chasam hayidum labal, if it's known to the husband, like timker, then she should not sell it. And if she does sell it, then it's invalid. Sheinidum labal, if the husband doesn't know about the property, like timker, she shouldn't sell it. But if she does sell it, it's a good sale. Yeah. Let me tell you, let's do the fourth case. Before the betrothal, but she sold it after the Before the betrothal, she sold it after the betrothal. She inherits it after the betrothal, and she sold it after the betrothal. Both of those are before the wedding. Now we have 2 cases after the wedding. Now it wasn't. It should have been. She inherits it before the wedding, and she sells it after the wedding. But she said inherits it after the wedding, and she sells it after the wedding. But the 4th case was said before the 3rd case. Okay. Maishna Reisha delay pligi, Maishna Sefer the pligi. Say like this, that the very first case was she inherited before the betrothal, she sells it after the betrothal. We said that was that everyone agreed that it's a good sale. The next case was she inherited after the betrothal and she sold it after the betrothal. That was a machlekas b'shami and b'sel. The Gemara asks, what's the difference? Both of them are before the marriage. Why is there a machlekas by one and one of them they both agree? So, Amri the Bey Rabbi Yanai said in the yeshiva of Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Yanai is a teacher of Rabbi Yochanan. Reisha b'schusa naflo, Sefer b'schusa naflo. Sorry, wait, let's do that again. Reisha b'schusa naflo, Sefer b'schusa naflo. Schusa, I think over here means the jurisdiction. The beginning, it fell into her property. It fell into her jurisdiction. It fell into her jurisdiction, and the Sefer, she was already betrothed. It's in his jurisdiction. Mar says in B'schusay naflo timacher v'nasna ma'kayim. If it's really his jurisdiction, then why was she allowed to sell it? Again, he owns the fruits, so why was she allowed to sell it? Al reisha vade b'schusay naflo. Reisha vade b'schusay naflo. Sefer ema b'schusa ema b'schusay. The first case, we know for sure that it fell into her jurisdiction, so she's allowed to sell it. But in the Sefer, she's only betrothed; she's not married, so that's considered a suffix. Why is it a suffix? Because we don't know if this betrothal is gonna continue on to a marriage. It's gonna continue. So maybe it will, maybe it won't. So it's a suffix. So I think the logic over here is that she, and then it's a suffix if she inherited before also. But the thing is like this, that I know when she inherits it before, that's a vada her jurisdiction. Now she enters into jurisdiction that could be a suffix. So in suffix might be de vada. We know that it was hers. But when it falls into the suffix itself, then we say that she shouldn't sell it, but if she did sell it, it's all. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda tells us that they said in front of Rabbi Gamliel that the sale should not be a good sale. Because if the husband owns her, for sure he owns her property. And Rabbi Gamliel said back that no, we're even surprised that she can't sell it after the wedding. Well, what were they referring to over here? Ibaylo had a question. Rabbi Yehuda al-Chatchila ay adiyabed. Rabbi Yehuda is referring to the lechatchila. Now, lechatchila here means Beis Shammai said that they're allowed to. That she inherited after the betrothal and she sold it after the betrothal during the same time period. Right when she inherits it, she's ready to sell it. Beis Shammai says she's allowed to go ahead and sell it. They told Rabbi Gamliel that why should she be allowed to sell it? Okay, and Rabbi Gamliel says back that no. She should be allowed to sell it. We're not even ashamed of that she can't sell it. That's one option. Other option is Beis Hillel says that if it's sold, it's a good sale. They told Rabbi Gamliel, why is it a good sale? In other words, was the conversation regarding Beis Shammai's view or regarding Beis Hillel's view? Beis Hillel was the evident, Beis Shammai was the Hakila.
If we're talking about the church.
Okay. Tashima, we have to prove what the Mishnah was referring to. Tanya was taught in the Brisa, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Lefnei Rabbi Gamliel, Hayil v'zuish day. Since they told Rabbi Gamliel, sometimes the Brisa gives us more details, the conversation, the Mishnah like edits it out. But they said in front of Rabbi Gamliel that look, the betrothed woman is the wife, the married woman is the wife. Both of them are wives. What's the difference? Zu michrabatel, have zu michrabatel. If this one can't make a sale, then this one also can't make a sale. Both wives. Now, what do we see from this? That michrabatel, that the sale is invalid. That means that the question that they had to Rabbi Gamliel was not on Beis Shammai, that why are you allowed to sell the Hatila, but the question was on Beis Hillel, that why is the sale valid at the end? And Rabbi Gamliel responds, that you see the conversation was about the Diavad, was about the opinion of Beis Hillel Shemamina. Okay. Tanya, got in the Brisa. I'm Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia. Exactly the name we had in the Mishnah. The second one that quoted the conversation with Rabbi Gamliel. Now we're going back to the case. You see, there were two. If you divide the Mishnah into two halves, one half was during the Erusin, and one half was during the marriage, after the Nisuin. Rabbi Yehuda quoted the conversation during the Erusin. Rabbi Hanina ben Akavia quoted it during the Nisuin. But now we're going back to the same conversation during the Erusin.
It's the same level.
Was Avia ben Malala. Something Avia. Yeah. Hanana ben Akash. Yeah. They took two different people. Okay. Right. Yeah, then this could be Hanina ben Akavya. Loikach Heshivan Rabbi Gamliel Chachamim. He says that when you're talking about the Arusa, going back to the case that we had in the Mishnah in the name of Rabbi Yehuda, that when she inherited after the Erusin, and then she sells it before the Nesuin, after the Erusin. So we said that there was this conversation there. So Rabbi Hanina ben Akavya says that wasn't the story, that wasn't the conversation. He responded differently. Like, it's not so. In other words, they threw at him this argument that look, they're both wives. They're both and she can't sell it. This one can't sell it, so this one also can't sell it. Same thing, wives. So he says back, no, not the same thing. That's a totally different story. That wife, the husband owns everything she finds, all her income, and he can even annul her vow. The betrothed woman, the husband does not own her found items, her income, and he cannot annul her vows alone. He needs to together with the father, depending on her age. In this case, the father. Maybe. Okay, whatever the case is, he can't annul her vows. Right? If there's no father, he can annul the vows. Actually needed to be only 12. It's only it should be exactly 12 or something. Okay. Well, Amrullah, they said back to Rabbi Gamliel. In other words, Rabbi Gamliel, they told Rabbi Gamliel it's so comparable to both wives. Rabbi Gamliel says no, there's a huge contrast between them. So they tell him back, Rebbe, they take out the word law in this next phrase. Machra ad shalei nissus. If she sold it before she's married, nissus, she gets married. Achkach machra mahu. What's going to be the halacha? Amalahu said to them, Afsum mecheres v'nesenes v'kayim. She's allowed to sell it. He's quite consistent over here that she should be allowed to sell. Amrulai, so they said to him, what Rabbi Hanina ben Akavya is saying is that this conversation of Hayol v'Zachav had a prior conversation that came along with it, and that was a comparison. Two wives, are they exactly the same? He says no, they say yes, and then it continues on to after the Nesuin. And this is the part that we get quoted in the Mishnah by Rabbi Hanina ben Akavya. Only distinction is, I have to point this out over here, is that when we get to this point and we're dealing after the Nesuin, and where Rabbi Hanina ben Akavya is quoting that the sages told Rabbi Gamliel that should she be allowed to sell it at this point, and he says yes, that's slightly different from the Mishnah. But the Mishnah said, Rabbi Gamliel says, Im machra v'nasnakayim, that if it was sold, it's good. B'diavad. And now in the Brisa, we're having it as she's allowed to sell it l'chatchila. So there's a shift over here. The Gemara is going to bring that up. It's going to be problematic. Well, so he says to them, we're even ashamed if they inherited after the Nesuin. If she inherits it after the marriage. And now you're telling me that the same thing should apply if she inherits it before the marriage, during the betrothal. Okay. Now the Gemara says, 1 second. But we look back at the Mishnah, actually nissus, if she inherits it before the marriage, v'nissus, and then she gets married, from Gamliel Aimer, im machra v'nasna kayim. If she sold it, it's good. Sounds like only b'diavad, not l'chatchila. And in the Brisa we said, even l'chatchila, even Initially, she's allowed to sell it, according to Rabbi Gamliel. It's a contradiction. Amar Rav Zvid Tani Mecheres v'Nisenes v'Kayim. Adjust the Mishnah. Take out the word im. The Mishnah said if she sold it. Rabbi Gamliel Eimer Machra. She can sell it. Is that the correct? Machra? No, it should be Machara. You have Mecheres? Mecheres. Oh, Tani Mecheres. Mecheres. She sells. Mecheres. She sells. That's better. That's good. Yeah, we don't have exactly. She sells and she may sell in Hebrew, but it has to be the same. No, the past tense would be telling me a b'diavad. I want to get a they call it participle. It could be a past, it could be a noun. She sells. It's like an adjective. But, okay. V'nesenes v'kayim. And she can give it, and it's still okay. And it's a good sale. So how do we answer the question? We adjusted the Mishnah. Rav Papa Amar Leikash. Rav Papa says no. It's actually a machlekes. Rav Yehuda li b'derem Rav Gamliel. Rav Chanina ben Akavia li b'derem Gamliel. It's actually a machlekes between Rav Yehuda and Rav Chanina ben Akavia. What Rav Gamliel holds. In other words, the Mishnah would be the view of Rabbi Yehuda. The Brisa is telling me Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia. The Mishnah says that Rabbi Gamliel holds that she is only allowed to sell the diavad, only if she sold the diavad, it's a sale, but l'chatchila she's not allowed to sell. And the Brisa says no, she's allowed to sell l'chatchila. Now, the way this is working now. During the Erusin, if she inherits it during the Erusin, she sells it after the wedding. And Gamliel says if she sold it, it's a good sale. Yeah. After the wedding.
No, but you're going to purchase her.
Right. She had it before.
Came to her.
Right. Right. Now, Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia said that she's even l'chatchila allowed to sell. Gamliel in the Mishnah didn't say that. Gamliel in the Mishnah said if she sold it, it's a good sale. So how do we answer that? So we said adjust the Mishnah. That was the first answer. Second answer, I said it's not so that there's two opinions what Rabbi Gamliel holds. There's Rabbi Yehuda's view, that's the Mishnah's view, and then there's the Brisa's view. Problem is, you see in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda did speak in the Mishnah, but he was talking about when she was in Arusa. But the Mishnah said that when she's in Arusa, there's a machlekes Beisil and Bishama. Is she allowed to sell a chatchila? Beisil says she's not. Now we have a brisa that's telling me that after the marriage, she inherited before the marriage. After the marriage, there's a machlekes. There's the brisa telling me that Rabbi Gamliel holds she's allowed to sell. Now that's clearly not Beisil's view, because even before the marriage, Beisil said she wasn't allowed to sell. So the Gemara asks, Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia Beis Shammai, that could only fit with Beis Shammai. Beishami says Lachatchila she's allowed to sell. When it says Hachi Kamar, Linechliko Beishami Beisil al Dabrisa. What we're saying is that Beishami Beisil, he's saying, Abchnim Ben Akavia is saying that Beishami Beisil never argued about this. That's the way you get out of this. I think Gemara does this a lot of times. And there's Machlekes Beisil Beishamai, and there's one view that comes. It seems to be saying like Beishamai. How are you saying like Beishamai? You're passing like Beishamai. I said no. My tradition is that Beishamai and Beisil never argued about this. Beisil and Beishamai have agreed to it. That's how it is. So there's different traditions about the Machlekes. Rab and Shmuel Darmi Tavayu. Rab and Shmuel both say, whether she inherited before the betrothal, whether she inherits it after the betrothal, Benissus, and then she gets married, the husband can take it away. Okay. After the marriage, she can't sell even if she inherited way back. Come on, but who does that go like? Like Rabbi Yehuda, that doesn't fit with Rabbi Yehuda because Rabbi Yehuda said, I guess, Rabbi Yehuda in the words of Rabbi Gamliel, that says that b'di'evet it's a good sale. But like Rabbi Chanina ben Akavia, that says that even the Chatchila you're allowed to. Yeah, but if she inherited before, that's if she inherited after the wedding. If she's inheriting before the wedding, possibly even before the betrothal, and the husband can still take it away, but the sale was done after the wedding. Well, this we don't have a view who it's fitting with. That's our question here. So we say it doesn't fit with anyone that we know of. So the Gemara says that don't worry about that. Inu damri karabi seinu. They have their own tradition, our sages. The Tanya Rabbi Seinu Chazav v'Nimnu Ben Shenaf Lach Shleit Tesaris Ben Shenaf Mishin Tesaris Benistas Habal Mitzvah Lekuchas. There's another brisa that they're following. It says that the rabbis got together and they passed it. Is this the one? No, they have Nimnu B'Gamlu, which means like they counted and they decided. It comes up. Right. Once she gets married, everyone agrees. That's what you're saying. Yeah. Once she gets married, everyone agrees that she can't sell. And if she does sell, the husband can take it out of the hands of the purchaser. Take it back. She sold something that belongs to him. Let's say that this brisa just told us what we were taught in a much later time in the Takana from Musha. Rabbi Yosef bar Chanina says Busha Stino, Anusha was instituted. Isha Shemachra B'nichsei Malog B'chaye Baila Mesa Habal Mitzvah Lekuchas. This was an institution that took place later. That if she sells her nichsei malug while her husband's alive, the husband can take it away from the purchaser, take it back. The Gemara answers that no, it's a different story. Because masnisim b'chayel appears the kind of sister of shel karka lachamisa. Our Mishnah was only talking about while she's alive, the husband is supposed to be eating the fruits. That's the case. So she can go and she sold it. The husband can take back his fruits while she's alive. But after she passes away, the husband has nothing there. So it was never his property. Only during her lifetime, he gets to eat the fruits of the property. In Usha, it was instituted that the husband gets the property even after she passes away, and he can go and take it back. Yeah. We can still take it back. While she's alive, Yeah. Okay. And we're on Ayin Ches.
Oh, she has to play.
That's some base towards the bottom. Yeah. Yeah. Sure about that.
Thought you got a new car.
Yeah.
The progress was warehouse that press things that which
It's from her lifetime. Oh, probably was his the whole time. It was always. Wow. Shame of love. The husband is supposed to inherit it. So it's really hers. The husband. So why is this only an institution in Russia? Yes. What it means is like this. Because she sold it she has the rights to sell she's selling a property that she owned. Just he had the rights to the fruits. When did he have the fruits?
The outlaw. What? We're up another chicken.
Right. No, so that's why she's allowed to sell it. Not she's allowed to. She sold it, and the sale has some effect, at least once she died. And if she didn't sell it, then the husband would inherit it. But she sold it while she's alive, so it ends up going, sale is good. Except sale on the principle is good, not on the fruit, not on the produce. So he gets the produce while she's alive. But then once she dies, then the sale, the wholesale takes over. The whole sale is valid. The wholesale. Okay. Reb Shimon makes a distinction between two types of properties. One is if that the husband knows about, one the husband doesn't know about. Look at this word over here. Elohim you do and Elohim shein you do. Elo means which. Yeah, in the dictionary, Yitzchak Frank, that's a Talmud dictionary. That's an aleph on the front with the white volume with the aleph on the front. Anyway, in there he says the word Elo can mean which, and it also can mean these. It usually means these. Elo mitzvah shalai, Elo chayla. Elo mitzvah shalai. So he says in that one line you have both translations. Which ones does he keep? Which one? These are the ones that he keeps, right? But they don't translate that in the schools. In the schools they say, "Elam shalai." These are the ones that are his. Elam chayla. These are the ones they because it's confusing. They translate the word "elo" two different ways. And over here, it's obvious that it means which. Which are what in other words, what is considered known property? What is considered not known property? You doing known possessions are mekarkoi. That would be real estate. That's what it means. Shein you doing not known as metaltlin is personality. That means that the husband gets the fruits, that she cannot sell known property. She cannot sell real estate, but she would be able to sell personal things. And Rabbi Yochanan says different. Ela you doing in. Both of those are considered known. Velo and Shane you doing. What's considered not known? When the property came in a faraway country. We also have a brisa. That he doesn't know about. It's not considered that he owes her, that she owes him the fruits. If it's something that he never knew about. As the whole takana over here was that he should be able to eat the fruits because he has obligations there. He shouldn't feel that he's doing everything. He should be getting something. What's the obligation? And he should redeem her if she gets taken captive. Well, so if he gets the fruits, but if there's things that he doesn't know about, then that's fine. But we don't want him to say, let her go and redeem herself on the fruits that she gets. Yeah. But there was a woman, the boy, the tabrichinol and she wanted to hide her possessions from her husband. So she made a document that says that all her possessions belong to her daughter. She gets married and then she gets divorced. Now, what happens now is when you do these things, I said one person usually takes these arrangements more seriously than the other one. So, apparently the daughter took it quite serious, that she now has all these possessions and she wants to keep it. The mother said, no, I never meant that this should be a real gift. I just meant to avoid my husband, then the ex-husband. Right. And then they take it serious, and then they keep it. Right. So Asala Kamidir of Nachman. She's in a conflict with her daughter. They come in front of Rav Nachman, whose possessions are they? Well, Kar Rav Nachman, Rav Nachman just tore up the document, which means that it wasn't a real gift. This was just a way of avoiding the husband tax, and it's nothing. It belongs to the mother. Also, Ravana Lakameda Marukva. Ravana goes in front of Marukva. Marukva was the head of the Bezdin. And Amalei said, Chazima, take a look, master. Nachman Chakla. I never saw this in Gemara. Nachman the farmer. Then she tears up people's documents. Yes, he's not so impressed with what Rav Nachman did. He calls him a farmer. Farmer, he means that he's not an expert in law. Right. Amalei, Marukva says, Emily easy. He's calling him a farmer because he's not an expert. That's a way of yeah. Was he actually a farmer? I don't think so. Oh, a peasant. Okay. Yeah, he wanted to change the rules, so he was put in this disparaging comment. Amalei Emily Easy, he says, my friend, tell me, Gufaduv de Hechavi. This is my friend, I think. We had it before once. Yeah, easy. Tell me, please, what was the actual incident? We had it easy before. I thought I wrote that down. I think it means friend. Okay. But it says, please. What did it say over there? What did it say? Now? Uh-huh. The gestures on the spy. I can take the time, but I'd like to look it up. Can you type in and search spy? Give you come up with one of the options, gesture. Just well, Gufa of the Hechav, tell me the whole story. Amalei, Hachivachi Avi tells him the story. Amalei, Shtam Mavrechas Kamrit, you're talking about Mavrechas like evading like taxes. So evading, she's evading the husband. This is what Rav Chanai Baridi says in the name of Shmuel. Meira Hirani, I guess Shmuel is the one that's saying this, but he's saying in his name that I'm a decider of law. I'm certified to be able to paskin. And if I get a document of evasion, so then I just tear it up because it doesn't mean anything. Wow. Yeah, they're all aimily easy. Now, what do they all mean? Aimily easy. Okay, easy. What does it mean? Easy. We're like leaving place. The one back. As far as the definition. But tell me now. That's what you said now? Yeah. Okay. Okay. What are you doing now? Yes. Probably. So it seems like that they tear it up. Well, Amalei Rabbler of Nachman, Rabba says, 1 second. Time I get why they would tear it up, because a person wouldn't give away property just like that. So it's obvious that it was just an evasion. But even to his wife, maybe. Here it's away from the spouse. But to the daughter, maybe she does want to give it to the daughter. How do you know this is really not a good document when it was given to the daughter? Maybe a different story. It says that all of these are, you own everything. Yeah. The Gemara says, even with the daughter, but she still loves herself more than the daughter.
40 years ago,
Right.
Unfortunately, actually, if you put in both, you everything we own. It's still as my wife's corporation. Here's my wife. I don't know what she's doing.
Okay. It's a little surprising because you would say that parents would do anything for the children. They love the children more than themselves. But the answer to that is that we would give our lives for Tasha, for Hashem. But it doesn't mean that every single second that's what we're doing. So too, we give our lives for the children, but it doesn't mean that every single second that's what we're doing. So to give away, everything, that doesn't mean that's the. We would, it would be. Right. To the new husband. Well, that's obviously what's happening here. She's getting remarried. She has a daughter, and she's avoiding the new husband. Okay. Meisvei, the Gemara has a question. We have a brisa actually about this. If a woman wants to avoid the husband taking her assets, the produce of her assets. So Kesev, what should she do? Kesev start pasim lachim. She should write a convincing document, convincing someone to take her property, but not that he actually owns it. It's just to hold it while she's getting married, so that the husband doesn't. It's a type of gift. Problem is, does he own it or not? That's going to be the question. Does he own it? Then good. If he doesn't own it, then not. Well, the Reb Shimon Gamliel. That's what Reb Shimon Gamliel says. They say, 1 second. This is a problem because he can actually keep it forever. He can laugh at her, and keep the whole field. She has a solution, but she has to write this, or else it doesn't work. What does she say? She puts in the document that the field is yours from today, and when I want it to be yours. That means later on, when the guy's going to say, "He gave me that property," because I don't want to. There was a stipulation there that I would want to give it. And if she says I do want to, then it goes back to Mehayim from the day that it was given. So there's always this loophole, this little way out. You could escape, but you can always get out of this. Now, time of the custom, that's only if she wrote that. Custom, she wrote it for Achi. Achi. But if she doesn't write it, then the purchaser buys it. The Kashan Shmuel, it's Kashan Rav Nachman. How is he allowed to tear it up? That document that we had before that was given to the daughter, they just tore it up. And meanwhile, it didn't say in there, Mehayoim el Kshertza. Well, I'm Rabzir like Kasha. Habakulu ab Miktasa. Depends if she gave all the property or just some of the property. If she gave all the property, then we know for sure that that's not what she meant to give it over. But if she gave some of the property, then that could be a real sale unless she did, or a gift rather, unless she did that stipulation. That's what we're asking. That it needed to say this in order for the Besdin just to go and tear it up. Otherwise, the person could say, "What? It's mine." But the Gemara is answering that it depends. The Besdin can tear it up if she gave everything, because that our assumption is that she never would have really given it. But if they just pull out a document about one field, and she still has some others, that could be a real document. The Eli Kanini Lakeach Nikninu Baal. Huge problem here. What are we saying? What's the case of Shmuel? That she's giving everything. Shmuel says that cannot be a good gift. It's just evasion of the husband taking something. So therefore, it doesn't work, and they tear it up, and she takes it back after the divorce. Kashir, even without any stipulation, even without a stipulation. The problem is that why doesn't the husband get the payers? If it's not a good sale, then the husband should have been getting the payers the whole time. Amarabaya, asum kinachasim shinidum labal vali b'Reb Shimon. Remember, we had nechasim that were not Yeduim. We had Reb Shimon that said he doesn't know about it in another country. Well, that's what's going on over here. The husband thinks it's real, so therefore that's why it worked. Okay. Try to see this mission. It's coming up mission. Nafal Aksafim. Let's say she inherits money, not property. No, money, unless you do something with it, it's just gonna sit there. It's not gonna make any fruits, any produce. Well, it's not like a field, apartments. Not sure. Let's say over there when she inherited. It just says. Let's say it's after the marriage. I mean, that's for sure. This Mishnah would apply. The question is if by the Erison. Okay, so what should she do? Well, what should he do? Over here, it looks like Yilakach bem karke, right? He should buy property with this money. Tilakach.
Money just.
Yeah. It's her money. Yeah.
What's the benefit?
Yeah. Because she gets the principal. And over here, there's only principal. They sell it. Right. To buy property and then eat the fruits. Let's say she inherits the truckload of fruits. Well, you buy fruits, you buy a property rather, and then he'll be able to eat the pears of it. What about pears mechubar on the karka? Let's say the fruits are attached to the. Now, usually, if fruits are attached to the ground, you inherit the whole property. So then she has the property. But turns out in this case, she's only inheriting the fruits of the property, but they're still attached.
Like people who make wine
Right, to buy the crop. So she inherits this crop, but it's still attached. Or well, if it's attached, yeah, that's what we're discussing here. That's the issue. The issue is it looks like maybe there is a produce here. Is this considered a principal or a produce? Well, Amar Meir, Sakami Yafa Beperis, Sakami Yafa Beperis. You evaluate the field. How much is the field worth with the fruits? How much is it without the fruits? Now that difference, which means basically you just figure out what the value of those fruits are, then you buy property, and he's going to eat the fruits off that new property that they bought. Fruits that are attached to the ground are his, because that's considered Paris. It's a lushim in a karka because it's going to become, if it's already talish, if it's already separated from the ground, then that's considered principal. And if it's still attached to the ground, then when you remove it, it becomes his. Considered fruits. Reb Shimon Aimer, Makam Shiyafa Koicha B'Knisasa or Koicha B'Tziasa. Makam Shir Koicha B'Knisasa Yafa Koicha B'Tziasa. Well, Reb Shimon says that if he has a stronger power when they're going in, he's have a weaker power going out. If he has a weaker power going in, then he'll have a stronger power going out. Kate said, how does this work? When they're attached to the ground, the fruits are attached to the ground. The knisasa, when they're getting married, shaloi, that's considered his, that's considered Paris. The Yitziasa, but when they're getting divorced, shalah, then it belongs to her, it's considered principal. She gets the principal. Hatlushim in a karka, if it's removed from the ground, then the knisasa, when they're going in, shalah, belongs to her, because that's considered principal. In principle, it's what she gets. The Yitziasa, when they're leaving, then shaloi, then it belongs to him. It's considered Paris. We'll have to see more details about that. Where it says pshita. The following is, we feel, is obvious. Ara ubati ara. I'm sorry, whoops. Ara ubati. Land and houses. Which one? One of them, this is a typical conflict. One of them says, we want to purchase a field. Other one says, no, let's get apartments, houses. Well, what should be, who should win in that argument? Ara, the one that wants the land wins, because the houses will deteriorate, and the land doesn't. Bati vidikli, houses or palm trees. Then it's the houses. Naftali, you have to go to the let me just pause for a second. Are we going to, I'm not going to be here in Shoshana. So unless someone wants to take over, want to give the share. So now, okay. So if no one gives a share, so now the question is, do you want to? The problem is I'm not going to be able to. I won't have time until my school break. It's Yom Tov. Until Sukkot, to be able to. Well, actually, I will have in between Yom Kippur, I'll be able to learn twice. So should we learn on our own, or should we?
Rabbi, we want to learn with you. We'll catch up as time passes by. It's not a big deal.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. It really isn't a big deal. We don't have to be with a specific page. That's not what we're doing.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so after wherever we end today, I'm still learning. We have another 20 minutes, but Naftali's leaving. We'll learn on Wednesday exactly where we leave today. Where we leave off today. Hopefully, we'll be the next Amud. We'll start the Mishnah, hopefully on the bottom of Ayin Testament page. Hopefully. Well, now we're holding. So we said houses or palm trees. We say houses. That's takes precedent. That's the movement. Dikli v'ilani. Let's say it's palm trees and other trees. Dates, palm trees, dates. Dates are other trees. We say dates. Dikli. Ilani v'gufni. Other trees or grapevines. We say ilani. That's the other trees. Abazardasa upera de kavri. Just getting like real interesting businesses here. Abazardasa is a type of tree that doesn't really have a fruit, so they use the tree as just lumber. And pera de kavri is a fish pond that and they farm fish. So is this considered? Now, I thought what the Gemara was doing was telling me which one takes precedence, but it turns out that it's the same field, and the shaila is this not field? It's the same what's they call this, like forest. Is this a produce or is this a principle? Because you're going to cut the wood, and it doesn't grow back. The trees don't grow back. They cut it down. So it's just using the principle. And the fish as well. It's farmed fish. You just take all the fish. It's not like land that produces. This is what they're talking about. If you want to use it, I guess you have to grow it again. So Amri Laperi Amri Lakarna. Some said that this is considered produce, and some say that this is considered principal. Klal the Melsa, but the rule is Gizli Machle Pera. If the trunk would grow back, then that would be fruit. But in Gizli Machle, if the trunk doesn't grow back, then that's just principle. Because you're just taking the thing itself, you're losing the principle when you harvest it. You lose everything. Right? Okay. Amr Abzeira, Amr Abesha, Amr Abyanai, Amr Ababa, Amr Aberisha, Amr Abane, Amr Abyanai. Abyanai we had before, right? He's a teacher of Rabbi Yochanan. Hagainev, Vlad, Behema, Malug. Yeah, what's going on over here? She owns an animal. And what happened? The animal had a offspring. An offspring. Someone came along and stole it. Now the rule is when someone steals, he has to pay double. So Shalim Tashlimi Kefa Leisha. The double goes to the woman, it doesn't go to the husband. Now that should be payers. Should be both payers. There's payers for two reasons. One, because it's the offspring of the animal, that's payers. And one is because the kefil is payers. Apparently it's not so. It goes to the woman. Come on, who does this go like? Like Rabbanan, like Hananya, it doesn't go like Rabbanan, it doesn't go like Hananya. No, we didn't learn them yet. We're going to learn them now. The Tanya was taught in a brisa. Vlad behemas malug, the offspring of an animal that she brought to the marriage. Labal belongs to the husband, straight like that. Vlad shivchas malug. What's about the child of a maid that she brought to the marriage? Lisa goes to her. That's the Rabbanan here. Hananya ben Achi Hananya ben Achi Yoshia Amar. Hananya, the nephew of Yoshia, says, Asu Vlad Shivchas Malug to Vlad Behemas Malug, that they both go to the husband, the offspring of the Shivcha, of the maid, the child, and the offspring of the animal go to the husband. Offspring of the Shivcha is like the offspring of the animal, which is to the husband. So who was that first view? Rabbi Yanai. Who does Rabbi Yanai follow? Doesn't follow any of the Tanaic opinions. The Gemara says, "Afilu tema divriyakol." You can actually say it belongs to it's the opinion of everyone. And Peirat kina l'Rabbanan. Peirat the Peirat like kina l'Rabbanan. So interesting, because Tekina l'Rabbanan. The husband's supposed to get the Vlad, but he doesn't get the kefil from the Vlad, even though it's his. How does she end up with the income from his produce? So interesting, isn't it? Because it sounds like even in the pairs itself, there's a kinyan aguf and there's a kinyan pairs in the pairs itself. Okay, Bishlam Chananya, we understand what Chananya is doing because Chananya was consistent. He said that the vlad of the animal and the vlad of the shivcha both belong to the husband. Hashin lamisa means like this. What would happen is if the mother animal died, then this would just be a replacement for the mother animal, the offspring. If the shivcha dies, then the child would just be a replacement for the shivcha. So it's not considered peiros. This is considered the thing itself for the next generation. That's not peiros. Peiros is profit. This is just the replacement of the original, right? The warranty. This is just the warranty. So Hananya is not concerned with the death of the mother. And he's not concerned with the warranty, but the replacement. He views it just that this is just peiros. So the husband gets the peiros. Ela Rabbanan, but according to Rabbanan, if they're concerned about the death, which means that this would be a replacement, then you shouldn't get the animal, the husband. And if you don't suspect the death, then the husband should get the maid's child, because it's not a replacement. The Gemara says, really, he is suspect to the death of the animal or to the maid, and this is a replacement, which means that it's the principal. And so therefore, according to the Rabbanan, he really shouldn't get the animal. Even when the mother animal dies, but there still is value to it, which means that little bit of profit that you get out of it turns the blood into payers. There's the skin, there's the hide, there's a little bit of income from the dead animal. Says Rav Huna Bar Chia says the Allah is like Chananya. Rav Nachman Afagav the Mishma Lacha Kechananya. Even though the Allah is like Chananya, but Moed Chananya agrees that if she gets divorced, they send us damim when they taltan. What did Chananya say? That the husband gets everything, gets the blood shifcha. But what would happen is that after she gets divorced, she should give money if she wants to get it back, and she has the rights to buy it back. But they shvach besavia, because that's the prestige of her father's house. I just suppose I don't know, it's sentimental, or if it's just whatever it is. Amar Rav Nachman nechmis le'ez l'chalba v'rachel l'gizasa v'tay v'gedos l'beitzasa v'degel l'peirasa. She brings in for the marriage a goat for the milk, a sheep for the shearings, a hen for the eggs, or a palm tree for the fruits. You continue. He eats until everything is gone. Amar Rav Nachman, Ayla l'glima. If she brings in a garment, Peirahabi, it's considered fruits. Michsi ve'vazalad the kalya.
No, it's not considered.
Wearing it is considered fruit, and he could wear it until it gets lost, until it gets worn out. Come on, who does that go like? That's it. It says ki aitana detanya hamelach ba'achol areza peiros. Salt and sand is considered fruits. Salt, we're talking about sea salt, because the water just washes up, and then you can get more. And what is sand? I guess it keeps rubbing away, keeps getting rubbed away again. The rocks. Yeah, they would use it, right? Pure shel gafris, machber shel trif. Pure shel gafris is where they get sulfur from, and machber shel trif is where they get what's alum? Alum is one of the minerals. They use it. Yeah. Well, that Rav Meir Keren v'Chama Peres. I guess the machlekes over there is Rav Meir and the Chama. Is it considered that you can dig deeper and get more, or is it limited a limited amount? And so Rav Meir says it's considered Keren. You take it and it's gone. I would say it's considered Peres. Rav Shimon Rav Shimon says that she gets right. Well, the problem is that Peres HaMechubarim Lakarka, the Chachamim said, belong to her. So regarding that, Reb Shimon Hainu Tanakama, exactly the same as a Tanakama. Amarav mechubar mishas yitzia kabinayo. When it's attached when they're getting divorced, that would be a difference. Reb Shimon, the Rabbanan didn't mention divorce. It's only Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon says that they belong to her. Okay. Nafula avadim mishvachis zakenim. Let's say they're older maids and slaves. You should sell them, buy property, and he'll eat the fruits. Shouldn't sell it. Because they are the prestige of the father's house. You should not sell the slaves. What if they're olive groves or vines, grapevines? They're old. I guess they're not producing. So you should buy property, real estate, and then he'll eat the fruits. You don't sell them because that's the prestige. I don't know what to do with them. I guess maybe one day it'll come back. When is that we have this machlekes about should she sell those prestigious plants and trees and grapevines? That's because it was her field, and we're saying that she should. Some say she shouldn't sell it. I wonder if the Mishnah is referring to the time of the Yovel. I don't know if the Mishnah is referring to the time of the Yovel. Mishnah could be after the Yovel. So, it's only because the field is hers. And she only owns the trees in this field. So everyone agrees that she should sell it because it's finished. The whole principle is gone. 1 second. What about the slaves? They're old and they don't. It's exactly like the field is not hers. There is no like background to this, and there's still a machlekes. Aliyat marhachiyat. You have to say it differently. Amar Kana Marav machlekes besada sheina shalah. Machlekes says if the field is not hers. Besada shalah, but if the field is hers, everyone agrees you shouldn't sell it. Because it's the prestige of the father's house. Let me stop over here.
I would anticipate.
Okay. See you everyone.